Please subscribe my channel and click the bell icon for notification.
Once upon a time, in a small town in the USA, there lived a couple named Jack and Emily. They were madly in love and spent every moment together. One evening, they decided to go for a walk in the nearby forest. It was a beautiful night with a full moon shining bright. As they walked, they heard strange noises coming from the woods. Emily was scared and wanted to go back, but Jack reassured her that everything was fine. However, they soon realized that they were being followed by someone or something. They quickened their pace, but the footsteps behind them got louder and closer. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the darkness. It was a tall, pale man with sharp teeth and glowing red eyes. He introduced himself as Edward and claimed that he was a vampire. Jack and Emily were terrified, but Edward promised that he wouldn't hurt them. He explained that he had been watching them and had fallen in love with Emily. He begged her to leave Jack and be with him instead. Emily was horrified by Edward's proposal, but Jack was furious. He lunged at Edward, but the vampire easily overpowered him. Edward then turned to Emily and said that if she refused him, he would kill Jack. Emily was torn between her love for Jack and her fear of Edward. She didn't know what to do. Suddenly, she had an idea. She told Edward that she would be with him on one condition: he had to turn her into a vampire too. Edward was overjoyed by Emily's proposal and agreed to turn her. However, he warned her that once she became a vampire, she would lose all her human emotions, including love. Emily was willing to take the risk. Edward then proceeded to bite Emily's neck, turning her into a vampire. Jack was horrified by what he saw and tried to attack Edward again, but the vampire easily overpowered him once more. As he lay on the ground, bleeding, he watched as Emily and Edward disappeared into the night. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months, but Jack could not forget about Emily. He couldn't understand why she would choose to be with a monster like Edward. One night, he decided to take matters into his own hands. He went to Edward's lair, armed with a wooden stake and a vial of holy water. As he approached the door, he could hear Emily and Edward talking inside. He could hear Edward's voice, but Emily's was different. It was cold and emotionless, just as Edward had warned her. With a heavy heart, Jack pushed open the door and charged towards Edward. The vampire was caught off guard and stumbled backwards. Jack plunged the wooden stake into his chest, and Edward let out a blood-curdling scream. As he fell to the ground, Emily lunged at Jack, but he was prepared. He threw the vial of holy water at her, and she disintegrated into dust. Jack fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. He had lost the love of his life, but he had also saved her from a fate worse than death. As he left Edward's lair, he knew that he would never forget the horror of that night. But he also knew that he had done the right thing, no matter how painful it was.
Please subscribe my channel and click the bell icon for notification.